I'm at home and I've got the truck camper off the truck here. And with fuel prices the way that they are, I'm not going to be driving the old Ford F-350 much longer. So looks like next few jobs I'll be taking the Prius and get that thing squared away here. You know, my tools loaded up, and might even be sleeping in it for a night or two. Well, I'm trading one for the other. My average fuel economy on my last trip, I did 1,800 miles, California, up through Oregon, Washington, into Idaho, northern Idaho, and back. It was about 1,800 miles. I averaged about 11 miles per gallon. And I've gotten a lot better fuel economy with this truck before, with the camper on it. I've gotten up to about 16 with the camper on it. And that's just because I happened to get lucky with some tailwinds. This time I was in a headwind a lot of the time, so it really drops your fuel economy. So let's kind of talk about that a little bit. Fuel economy and what you can do to save money in an economy where fuel prices are so high like they are right now. And I've got a couple of tips there. I'll just kind of go over what I think you can do, what I've done in the past to just lower your expenses to balance things out a little bit. So we'll just talk about a couple of the ideas that I have while I make myself a cup of coffee here on saving a little bit of money, saving fuel, just saving money to kind of make up for the extra money that you're spending on fuel when you do drive. There are quite a few things that you can do to save money while you're on the road, and it just kind of balances things out, you know, balancing expenses. If you're paying a little bit more for fuel, my first suggestion would be to, you know, not drive as much. So that might mean staying longer at a particular destination. So if your campground is, you know, anywhere between $30 a day or free, there's a pretty, you know, substantial savings there. If you're staying at a campground for $30 a day and not spending $100 to $200 a day in fuel, there's a lot of cost saving. There's a lot of money savings there. So that would be my first suggestion. Stay a little bit longer at your current destination, and that can, you know, that can really save you a lot, especially if you're one of those types of travelers that's out on the road every day driving 200-300 miles or something like that. It's just not feasible when fuel prices are this high. Another suggestion that I have is, while you are at your campground, instead of jumping in your tow vehicle or your car or truck, whatever transportation that you normally use, maybe bring some bikes. If you currently travel with bikes, I wouldn't go out of my way to buy bikes, because then you're kind of defeating the purpose of saving money. But if you travel with bikes anyway, just use your bikes more to go to the grocery store or go see the sites that you want to see in the area that you're in. It's also just kind of a nice way to slow down a little bit when you're out traveling. You can slow down and actually see more. Some of the other things that I do, and I do this anyway, not just when fuel prices are high, but I use the Gas Buddy app, and I use my savings cards. So I have the Good Sam membership, mainly because it gives me fuel savings at pilot stations. I can also use my Costco Visa when I pay for that fuel, so I get kind of double savings. When you're at a pilot station, make sure that the station across the street is not even, less expensive. If it's obviously not the better deal, don't get your fuel at Pilot. But using a combination of my Good Sam savings and paying with my Visa credit card, or paying with cash sometimes is a good deal as well. You can get sometimes up to about 12 cents off per gallon. So that's substantial when you're filling up a 35-gallon fuel tank on a Ford, big Ford diesel truck, or some of these big motorhomes with 100-gallon fuel tanks, or even more. Massive savings. So yeah, Gas Buddy app or any type of savings cards or memberships that you have for fuel savings. Another one would be, just general maintenance on your vehicle. I am one of those types of vehicle owners that checks his tire pressure a lot. Make sure that your air pressure in your tires is up to the manufacturer specs, and having tires that are inflated properly will save you in fuel costs. You'll get better fuel economy if your tires are inflated properly. It's just a fact. It's really not that big of a deal to break out your tire gauge and just make sure that your tires are inflated. Another thing that you can do is watch the weather. So if you've got inclement weather coming in, maybe strong winds that might be a headwind, just stay off the road that day if possible. And you're gonna have to maybe try to be flexible a little bit if you're going to make these savings. But like I said before, staying an extra day in a campground or your free BLM site, or if you're boondocking somewhere, is going to save you money. If you're not burning fuel, you're saving money, especially if you're in one of these fuel hungry vehicles like a big diesel pusher, or a truck pulling a trailer, or like I have a truck camper with a big Ford F-350 diesel. So yeah, just watch the weather, and if you can travel when there's not wind, especially a headwind, you're going to be ahead of the game. If you've got a tailwind and you don't mind driving in the wind, go for it, because that's gonna get you to your next destination, and it's going to potentially save you in fuel, because it's going to be kind of pushing you along instead of working against you. So what Lynn and I do when we're out traveling a lot, almost always we cook our own meals. If you want to save money, go shopping every few days. Keep the things that you need for cooking your own meals in your refrigerator, your snacks, your drinks. Make your own coffee. I make my own coffee all the time. I very rarely go to the coffee shop. Massive savings there. A cup of coffee is, $3-4 sometimes, and if you get one of those espresso drinks, those can be, $4, $5, $6 a shot. And doing one or two of those a day really adds up. So make your own food, make your own beverages, and you'll save money. It's going to offset your travel expenses overall. So a lot of us out on the road are already doing work camping jobs, or we travel for work, or some people are retired. Some people feel like if they're retired that they're done with work. Now, I feel a really good way to balance your expenses when you're on the road is to take a temporary job, maybe for, a week or 2 weeks at a time, to pull in a little bit of money. You might be surprised how enjoyable it is. Now, I've talked to a lot of people that are pretty much retired. They do take odds and end jobs, or they do work camping jobs like campground hosting, or even working for a temp agency, like People Ready, or one of those places that will do a temporary position for short periods of time. there are a lot of people that do that, and I hear from them, and they absolutely love it. They make great relationships. They meet fun people to work with, and the jobs that they do end up being a good experience for the most part. Now, I know a lot of these jobs are fairly low paying jobs, depending on what you're doing and for the duration of the job. It's not always about, making tons of money on a temp position. It's just about kind of offsetting your expenses a lot of the time. So again, in times like these where we've got high prices on things, inflation's, really bad right now. So everything's up in price. It's not just fuel, loaf of bread and milk and everything. It's expensive. So offset those costs by taking a temporary position sometime. It might be fun. So I do travel a lot for work. I'm almost always in the truck camper, but from here on out until the prices get better on fuel and inflation comes back down, which we're hoping is going to happen after the second quarter of this year, 2022, toward the end of 2023. I'm going to be driving a more fuel efficient vehicle to my job. So like I was saying earlier, we have a Toyota Prius and we have a Chevy Volt, and the fuel economy on those cars are amazing. The Prius gets 50 to 52 miles per gallon all day long, no problem at all. And the Volt, even better than that, about, over double that. So depending on how I drive it, but I'm going to be saving by taking those cars to my jobs. And, sometimes it'll even offset the cost of one night of a hotel if I have to do that. Or I've got a setup to where I can sleep in the vehicle. So, on the Prius, I've got, a full Reflectix setup, and the climate control, you can set the car up so the climate control stays on if you're going to be in a cold climate, or if it's a hot climate. If I have to do this through the summer, I can leave the climate control on and the air conditioning kicks on while I'm sleeping. That's one of the great things about having a hybrid vehicle or an electric vehicle is you can leave the climate control on. This whole thing about traveling and, work camping and having a mobile business or whatever, it's an adventure, and this is just kind of part of it. So yeah, if you have that option, rather than take the big RV, take a fuel efficient vehicle. It might be worth it to, get a motel one night or stay in the vehicle and, just chalk it up to life experience. So one last tip that I have here would be to go and see family. It can be really inexpensive to driveway surf or boondock in an area that's close by family. Go and spend some time with them. I know there's a slew of other ways to save money when you're out on the road. If you guys have a bunch of ideas, throw them in the comment section below, because I'd love to hear them. And maybe I'll try them when I'm out on the road. And I hope everybody's doing well out there. And we'll catch you on the next video. Later.